Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. Today I'd like to revisit the custom lightsabers that you can obtain from Savi's workshop in Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland and soon to be at Disney World if not already. So the last video, when I first went there during the reservation block, I had gotten the elemental nature and the protection and defense versions. There's four versions, and I got the elemental nature because of its kind of unique design, the rancor teeth and the whalebone, which I thought was really neat, as well as the protection and defense, which is more like the ancient Jedi motif. So today I wanted to go and get the third of the four, which is the power and control, which is more of the dark side or the Sith motif, and so I did get that. Wanted to sort of showcase some of this off. Of course, this is the actual blade itself, and then this is the heavy metal lightsaber. I do like the look of this, very nice. You know, as what you would expect with Sith type motifs. It's very sort of mechanical, dark, all metal, again, very good quality, very heavy. Enjoy sort of the little crystals here, the red, the black. So definitely, I like this design very nicely. The only one I'm missing now is the traditional Jedi version, which is the peace and justice. Maybe at another point in time, I'll wind up getting that, and then I have all four versions essentially. Each version, of course, has a lot of different options. You have two versions of this, two versions of this, and two versions of each of this, and two versions of that. So you can make two completely different lightsabers with those options, and you can mix and match. I think I've heard rumors that you could buy the extra parts separately, and it's quite a bit cheaper than the full $200 experience. And so maybe next time I go there, I will inquire about that. But again, I really like the sort of the custom nature of it, building it yourself, the good quality, that's all metal. It's a neat souvenir, a neat thing to have, really, really nice. So definitely recommend at least doing it once if you haven't done it before, because it is a pretty nice, worthy piece, and very heavy, very solid material, very solid construction. And each version has something to kind of separate it and make it unique. Now, while I'm doing this, I'd like to sort of showcase something I hadn't done before the other video, which is how do you change the batteries. It does come with really, really cheap batteries, which typically just want to remove and replace with good Duracells. And also, if you don't play with it or want to use it very often, then you do want to take the batteries out, because on the inside there's a light that's constantly flashing, and so it will eventually drain all the batteries out. By the way, you do get a unique pin with every choice you make, and so this is the pin for the power and control version. I think I have the pin from the other one. I'm not sure if I can find it anymore. Here it is. So this is the pin, I believe, for the protection and defense, unless I miss my guess. And so again, there are different pins for the different versions of the lightsaber. So that's kind of neat. That's what allows it to go into Savi's workshop. So let's take a look at this lightsaber in a little more detail, and I can then show you where to access the battery compartment and how to change the batteries. So the first thing is to remove the blade from the lightsaber. You simply push in and then rotate counterclockwise, and then gently pull out. this is the blade itself, right over here. We'll put that aside. That will no longer be used for the battery change. So the second thing you do is you're going to unscrew the ends of it. So we'll do that. So this is the pommel. We'll unscrew that. I think you can clearly hear that it's metallic. And then again, counterclockwise. We'll unscrew the other end. So now the ends are sort of unsheathed. I think from here you can actually just take this out directly, but I will take all of it apart. Once you do that, you twist this way, and then you take one of the sleeves out. As you can see, there's not many threads holding this on, so you can actually loosen the ends and then just sort of twist the sleeve a little bit, and you'll get the sleeve off of the thread here, so you can get rid of this. So same thing here, you're gonna twist, and you'll be able to get this thing out. So that leaves the center, and then you can see that there's a little line here for you to just simply wriggle your finger in on both sides, and this thing comes apart very easily. Come on. It's supposed to come together very easily. All right, there you go. And of course, I chose the red kyber crystal for my Sith lightsaber, and this can pop out. But I'm going to leave that in there for now. Okay, so this is sort of the core of your lightsaber. Everything else wraps around it. This is where the blade of the lightsaber goes, and so the end here is where the battery goes to charge the whole thing up. So we're going to, same thing with the blade, you push in, and then you gently rotate, you let go, and that should allow you to maneuver it out. Sorry about that, I think I did it wrong. So you're supposed to push in, yeah, and then rotate it a little bit, I think, counterclockwise, and then take it out, okay? So now, you can see, this is where the battery goes. We're gonna put that up here. And this is the battery compartment. There's 3 screws here. I think very nicely tells you where to go. There's a red arrow that shows you this is what what end goes in. So there's 3 screws. You don't want to touch these. And then there's a screw right here, and that's what you have to unscrew. So you need a small Phillips screwdriver, and then you simply unscrew this. And once you do a few turns, you'll be able to slide this thing off. And now you reveal the compartments where you put the batteries. You will take AAA batteries. You'll need 3 of them. And again, the ones that come from from Disney is really cheap. So prefer to put good quality Duracell batteries in. It's a no-brainer. Make sure that the negative is against the spring, the positive is at the top, is at the other end. Okay, so now your batteries are in place. Simply replace the sleeve. So it should be pretty self-evident. You have to replace it so that the screw lines up with this groove right here. Hopefully you can see that. That locks in nicely, and then of course you retighten it. For these things, never over tighten. 2-finger tightness is good enough. So now this should be charged. Remember to follow the directions of the arrow. So the arrows like this guy goes in, so I'll put this in. I have to fiddle with it a little bit. Push and then rotate clockwise, and if you did the right thing, you will of course hear that sound. You can see the power in the kyber crystal. You can see this light flashing. So for all of the lightsabers, this flashes constantly as long as this has a battery in place. There's no real on-off switch, or even if the switch is off, which powers the blade, even if you turn it off, this stand, you can see, is still glowing. So over time, you're going to eventually drain the batteries. So something to, I guess, think about. All right, now we're going to put it back together again. So before doing that, just like to kind of showcase the quality of these things. Nice metal. I kind of like this jewel right here. This is definitely my preference for the actual, on-off switch. Very, very nice. Right here. Here's the sleeves. Again, you can play around, mix and match. You can actually mix and match all of these components, the sleeves and the pommels, from all the different lightsabers actually. So again, I think that's pretty neat. I wish there was an opportunity to buy these lightsabers without having to go through the so-called Savi's workshop ritual. Once you've done it a few times, you don't really need to do all of that shenanigans again. It would save a lot of time too. Like, you don't have to book those 20 minutes. You just show up and build this thing like 5 minutes and just buy it. But for better or for worse, Disney hasn't implemented that. They're still selling out quite easily. So maybe a little bit later on, they may consider that option for collectors who just want all the different versions. Again, I think they're selling the scraps, which means that you can buy just the other component that you're missing, which would be great. So anyways, some thoughts for the future to make it a little bit more streamlined. I love this pommel right here. This is the end, and this is the one where the blade goes through. So again, beautiful design, beautifully done. Here's the ring where you can hang on your belt clip if you're so inclined. All machined aluminum. So, again, quite pleased. So the first thing you do to put it together, again, is you cover the kyber crystal. Just like my last video, don't need to be Einstein to put this together. Match up the red with the red here, right? The red's down here, so you want the red down here. Slip this bad boy in place, right around here. And then blue is here, you want the blue up top. Rotate until the blue lines up, and then snap it together, okay? This switch, you should hear the sound of the lightsaber activating if you flick it. That's good. Obviously, you don't hear the actual lightsaber activating because you don't have the blade yet. So now that you've covered the kyber crystal, you've now created these threads, which you can then use to screw on the bottom and the top sleeve. Put it in and then just gently rotate until it's locked in place. And of course, this locking in place prevents this from splitting apart. Same thing here. You want to get the one with the thread, so it'll be the larger end. And then you will gently screw this on in position. Hold on a second, just want to make sure you don't strip the screws here. You're doing a good job there. And you just kind of tighten a little bit so everything is in position. Now let's put on the pommel. Again, this only goes on the one end. If you try to put on the other end, it won't fit. So, yeah, pretty well thought out. Here we go on the other side. Okay, make it a little tighten, make sure it's all nice and tight. You can see here that this light is blinking. I don't think on the other sabers you can see that. It has to do with the window. Again, very, very heavy, at least I think 3 to 5 pounds. Very, very heavy lightsaber. You can definitely use it as a blunt force, as a blunt object for blunt force trauma there. So interesting that you don't see the blinking light here, you only see it on that one side here. Okay, and then it's time for you to put on the blade. Not too difficult to gently rotate until it slips in, push it all the way in. There you go. So again, this is the red lightsaber. Pretty nice. So there you have it. Very neat. And oh look, interesting. Once I turn it on, you don't see the little light flickering anymore. Yeah, this thing does have a lot of interesting little moving parts. So in any case, it's pretty fun to do, and when you're like taking it apart and unscrewing the little battery pack and stuff, it does kind of give you the illusion that you're actually making one of these things. Makes you feel like you're like a Jedi or a Sith, kind of, you know, creating your own little weapon. So that's kind of a nice effect. So hopefully that kind of shows you again how to change the battery packs. Not too difficult, but not the easiest thing or not the most intuitive thing in the world to do. So that's it. Power and Control version 1. I hope to get all of them eventually and all of the different machine parts, and you can just do all sorts of cool things like swap them. You can swap a Sith with a Jedi, you know. We can put like a elemental nature, the Rancor tooth in the bottom of a Sith lightsaber. We can do all sorts of crazy stuff, which would be interesting to do. So maybe I'll make a few more videos of that if I get the Peace and Justice version. And I do have some of the master replicas, authentic versions of Vader's lightsaber, and I might do a comparison kind of showing, comparing those with this. This is a really, really nice toy. I mean, it's ultra high-end, kind of like the ultra lightsabers that you can buy that are not licensed. But it is still a toy, whereas the master replicas, Vader lightsabers, are actual, you know, prop replicas, works of art, and you'll be able to tell the difference when I do the video, kind of comparing and contrasting those two. So thanks for sticking it out with me and kind of looking over this. Hope you enjoy that, and until next time, do take care.